Hello, everyone. Welcome to another lesson for Higher National Certificate HNC Level 4 on Unit 3 Human Resource Management. Um, in our last lesson, we were discussing on Learning Outcome 2 on evaluating the effectiveness of the key elements of human resource management in an organization. So this is the second part of Learning Outcome 2. So what we will discuss today is about the flexible organization, the types of flexibility an organization can provide for their employees, models of flexible organization, models and theories of flexible organizations, flexible working options in modern organizations, benefits to employers and benefits to employees of flexible working practices, and performance and reward, performance management and methods to use to monitor employee performance, types of payment and reward system, and the methods of determination. So what do we understand by the flexible organization, especially within this modern era of organizations? So the concept of a flexible organization is all about the ability of a business to adapt to changing needs, to changing external environments, to be responsive to opportunities and threats, and to be agile in its decision making. So, of course, during this pandemic, it is the most one of the best examples nowadays is of flexible organizations, where organizations are trying their best to provide their employees with the most flexible options of working from home, from online working, online teaching, online learning, as we're all doing right now. So a flexible organization is one that is able to adapt and respond relatively quickly to the changes of the external environment in order to gain advantage and sustain its competitive position. So of course, this learning, and especially the education sector, has not been at a halt during this pandemic, because of the growing because of the growing change in technology, because of technological availability. All the lessons and teachings are being able to be conducted online effectively. A suitable organizational structure is key to the flexibility of a business. So many employees are working from home. Many organizations have given the opportunity for employees to work from home, to work online, so without having to commute to their organization. So a flexible organization is more likely to have adopted what is often referred to as an organic structure as compared with the mechanistic structure. So what it means here is that a flexible organization is providing the opportunity for each of their employees to work in an effective manner in a way that they have worked while they were within the organization. They can work as effectively as possible at home as well. So during this pandemic, we have learned that that is absolutely possible. And employees have been effectively working from home. They're able to have a proper work-life balance, meaning that they're able to complete the work which is given to them from the organization, and also have a balanced life at home. So the common characteristics of a flexible organization are likely to be the encouragement and adoption of methods of flexible working. So of course, even at 9-to-5 jobs, full-time jobs, or part-time jobs, organizations are giving that opportunity to their employees so that they can work online using their necessary technological devices, computers, internet, and they are able to deliver as effectively in the same effective manner actually as they used to work within the organization. So there are flatter rather than tall hierarchies in the organizational structure. So basically, of course, flexible, when employees are working flexibly, there is a flatter organizational structure, meaning that there is more communication between their superiors and the employees, between the managers and everyone else in different departments. An organizational culture that embraces change, that is, sees change as an opportunity rather than something to be resisted. So, of course, during this pandemic, we have learned that organizations can adapt to the changing technological advances. Even though many organizations are working from home, it is possible to conduct every kind of job, every kind of work from home. Decision making based on strong communication likely to be decentralized. Of course, there is more mode of their it's employees and organizational managers, they're able to conduct more meetings, they're able to have more communication with different branches, with different employees at different departments. It becomes, communication has become more flexible or through online mediums. So technological advances has actually helped organizations to adapt to this current to this current pandemic, and almost all organizations are effectively able to work in a flexible environment. So flexible working describes a range of employment options designed to help employees balance work and home life. So why do we use the term flexible? It is because flexible working relates to working arrangements where there are a variety of options offered to employees in terms of working time, working location, and the pattern of work. So who does this decision? This decision comes from the human resource management, of course, through discussion of the employer of the organization. Flexible working opportunity is offered by most organizations nowadays. So if someone is working part-time or even full-time, if required, they can work from home. They can adjust their timing. It does not quite have to be a 9 to 5 timing. It can be that they can take they can do a job from 9 to 2, take some break if required, and then finish up work later on. So this kind of flexibility is providing facilities to the employees so that they can adapt to the working conditions, they can adapt to the job environment, alongside able to take care of their home life, take care of their children, take care of their parents if required. Among the most popular flexible working practices are the following: part-time working, term time working, working from home, flexi time. Sometimes people take career breaks. Sometimes there's job sharing, that there are two people hired for the same kind of job. If it is flexible for the organization, if the organization is able to give that opportunity to their employees, then they can do that. Two people can share one job. One of them can do like a 9 to 2 shift, and the other one can do a 2 to 8 p.m. shift, something like that. There are annual hours contracts, there are mobile working, there's also shift swapping. Of the options listed above, by far, the most popular in the UK currently is definitely part-time working, where people are able to work part-time at different organizations as well at the same time. 86% of businesses surveyed by the CIPD in 2007 offered part-time working options, job sharing, flexi time, and also working from home. So it is not something new, just not during this pandemic that working from home has become a thing. It has been a thing for quite a long time, and human resources in different organizations have actually provided these opportunities for their employees. There are good business reasons why businesses adapt or follow flexible working options. So this is mostly because that it saves a lot on cost. A business can make substantial savings on overheads if it does not have to provide office and other accommodation for so many employees. So there are definitely some benefits of providing employees with flexible working options. So an employee who can work from home does not require a desk at the office, or does not require some additional costs which the organization might have to incur. As a way of helping with recruitment and staff retention, there are lots of evidence that flexible working results in better job satisfaction and higher staff morale. So human resource management is all about how you handle your people, how you can make your people satisfied, and they will be committed to working for you, to stay with you. So if as a human resource manager, if you provide this kind of flexible options, if you provide different opportunities for your employees, then there is no reason why they will not stay with you. To reflect on the changing profile of the UK workforce, there are more women in the labor market now and an aging population due to the increase in flexible working opportunity. So there are many working mothers, there are many single moms, or even single fathers. So if there are these opportunities of flexible working, then there is definitely a way for both male and female employees to have a flexible option where they can work and also look after their home. To take advantage of developments in technology, it is now simple and cost-effective for employees to be able to access their employers online and other network systems, and to communicate digitally with colleagues. So through Zoom, Skype meetings, Microsoft Teams, it has become so easy for employers to kind of come together with their employees and have regular meetings, catch up with their teams. An increasing need for businesses to be able to deliver services to customers on a 24/7 basis. Now, just imagine when you go to some online store, online shopping nowadays has become so flexible, right? So if you have any queries, even if it comes to some sort of other services, there are many online chat services that can help you with any of your queries, complaints, or problems that you might be facing. The credit crunch, some organizations, for example, firms of lawyers and accountants, have offered part-time working or career breaks as a method of avoiding any minimum or of any kind of redundancies. To meet employee legislation, increasingly the law allows certain groups of employees the legal right to request flexible working. And in the UK, as it was mentioned before, that they are trying their best to provide flexible working options for their employees as much as possible. So the flexible HRM practices helps you have some sort of benchmark so that organizations can, employees can have the option to have the option of flexible working at home. This has become a best practice for every organization so that they are able to actually retain their employees, so that they're able to actually motivate their employees to stay committed to that organization. It helps with the business environment overall. So like I said, organizations do not have to incur a lot of cost if they can help people, if they can allow their employees to work from home. There is less like the business process re-engineering. So the way a business works becomes more flexible, becomes more easy to communicate with every stakeholders, able to meet stakeholders' needs, stakeholders including the customers, suppliers, investors, or anyone that is affiliated with the organization. It's a more decentralized organization where communication becomes quite easier. It's a changing strategy. It definitely helps with a competitive advantage because when you provide all these opportunities to your employees, organizations get a name for themselves. They're termed as the valuable employers for potential candidates. And of course, it helps with comprehensiveness. It is a more stable way. It is able to provide the best output through flexible human resource practices. So human resource flexibility practices might include delayering, which means that there are some opportunities where multiple people are working as in different roles, in different managerial roles, and it is not only all the decision making is not given to only one person. There is division of labor and divisional structure where the work is segregated into to different people. This flexible working opportunity provides downsizing where you would not require as many people within the organization. It has the opportunity of pursuing a soft human resource management. Soft human resource management meaning that the organization is more decentralized. There is more easier flow of communication. There is no chain of command. There is no authoritarian leadership going on here. There is a more soft planning and more strategic human resource management is pursued, and the talent skills are acquired better through flexible working practices. So structural flexibility. Flexible business structures are those structures that develop within an organization in response to existing employee relations and the way that employees interact with one another throughout the daily course of business. Flexible structures are informal by nature. They generally result from workers discovering ways to carry out business that are more efficient than those mandated by the formal organizational structure. Functional flexibility is the ability of an organization to move employees to other duties or responsibilities within the company. So one person can do multiple tasks, can do multiple roles because they do not actually have to commute to work. Okay, so they have more time. If required, they can help with other kind of work within the organization. Functional flexibility reflects an organization's ability to adapt to changing conditions and requirements and is affected by issues such as training, management, and outsourcing. So with the functional flexibility, one employee can have the opportunity to work at different tasks, but of course, not heavy loaded tasks, but something which they are able to do. Like if they have more time or have the ability to take up some extra load. Now we will look into the different organizational culture that kind of promotes flexible working opportunity. So we will first look into Handy's model of organizational culture. So Handy's model of organizational culture talks about 4 different kinds of culture that is effective within an organization. These 4 cultures may not be effective for all kinds of organization. It will depend from organization to organization which kind of organizational culture will be most effective for them. So Handy's classes of culture include power culture, role culture, task culture, and person culture. So in his model, Handy said that in an organization with a powerful culture, power is held by just a few individuals whose influence spreads through the organization. So it's basically like a very controlled organization. It focuses on power is given to only few people. So this is like a more centralized organization where people can only, there's like a chain of command, one person, okay? This red dot here is one person, one manager is commanding everyone within the organization what to do, okay? There is no exchange of opinions, there is no exchange of feedback, okay? So decision making comes from one person only. So a power culture, we can say that it is usually a strong culture, though it can swiftly turn a bit toxic, okay? Because there is no flow of communication. No one else's opinion matters here, apart from the head of the department or the employer or the main superior in that organization, okay? So many organizations like the Royal Bank of Scotland, famous banks like Enron, Lehman Brothers, they have collapsed because there was no flow of communication. Whatever the boss said was, that is all. There was no other highway option. So it was a very bureaucratic organization. The chain of command was very autocratic. It was an autocratic leadership. Okay, so looking into role culture, organizations with a role culture are based on rules. They are highly controlled, with everyone in the organization knowing what their roles and responsibilities are. So everyone within this organization is given different roles. For example, think about the educational sector, okay? So there are different defined, there is just very defined organized role characterized here, okay? That a lecturer would deliver the lecture. A teaching assistant will help students or will help lecture with aiding students. A tutor will be able to provide some one-on-one discussion with the students. Okay, so that is not usually the case in an education sector. I'm just giving you an example that this could be possible. It could be possible like this in different organizations. So power in a role culture is determined by a person's position, role in the organizational culture. So if a manager in a banking system, for example, okay, so their role is sometimes to command, to observe, to see what everyone else within that bank is doing, okay? So it's very specified. Role culture within an organization is very specified. Whichever person is given certain roles, they have to adequately perform those roles effectively, okay? So people have clearly delegated authorities within a highly defined structure. So of course, it's very structural, all right, that there is a CEO, there are the managers, and then there are the assistant managers. So over here, also the chain of command, it's a very hierarchical, centralized structure, okay? So it is not flat. Communication does not go both ways within the hierarchy. Through this diagram here, we can say that communication just goes one way. Whatever the top management says, whatever the people in the secondary level says, the tertiary or primary level people, they have to adapt to that. A consequence in this role organizational culture is that decision making can often be painfully slow, okay? Because there's just probably one person or very few limited heads are taking part in decision-making process. In short, organizations with role culture, and also as we have seen previously in power culture, may not be the most effective way for certain organizations. But this kind of power or role culture still exists in many organizations nowadays. It could be somewhere within like the technological industry, within the like the car industry, okay, automobile industry, because there are some structured work done. For example, in Toyota, okay, a Toyota company, because it's a manufacturing organization, there are certain roles assigned to different people that they have to do. So for that reason, maybe for them, for that organization, a role culture is quite effective. But if the same culture is used in a retail shop or in a retail organization, it may not be as effective, and people within that organization with such a culture may not work as effectively and may not stay motivated or committed with the organization. So the next kind of organizational culture is purely based on task culture. So task culture forms when teams in an organization are formed to address specific problems or progress projects. The task is the important thing within the organization. So power within the team will often shift depending on the mix of the team members and the status of the problem or project. So now this might sound a bit too complicated, but it is basically a task culture is where people come together in teams, work in a more collaborative environment. Okay. This could be where an organization with different departments, like we have seen before in Unit 1, there are different functions of a business. There is the finance department, there is the administrative department, the operational department, human resource management department. So different departments have some collective roles to play, have some collective tasks to do. So these organizations, teams, they are put together in these different departments so that they can work together and solve problems together. So the power derives from expertise, okay? As long as team requires expertise, all right? So imagine that in an organization, there is a human resource department. That human resource department has a head, a HR manager, or a human resource department head. So that person is controlling or delegating the task, okay? So he has the power to maybe delegate the task, but he's also working with his subordinates, with the assistant managers, or other employees within that department. So it has more of like a metric structure, okay? The task culture proves effective will largely, because it is more based on team dynamics, with the right mix of skills, personalities, leadership, team building skills, teamwork, it can be incredibly productive and creative. Many organizations nowadays adapt to this task culture organization, okay? So if you think about banks, all these different banks, they have numerous functions. Each and every bank has separate departments. Why is that? So that all of these different departments have different people of those expertise level so that they can all come together in those teams and work together for the betterment of the organization of the bank. Lastly, Handy talks about a person culture. So what is a person culture in organization? So organizations with person cultures, individuals very much see themselves as unique and superior to the organization. The organization simply exists in order for people to work. An organization with a person culture is really just a collection of individuals who happen to be working for the same organization. So people believe themselves to be superior to the business. Business full of people with similar training, background, and expertise. These are common in firms of professionals, example, accountants and lawyers, okay? So we see all these big lawyers, law firms or accountancy firm or other consultancy firm. So they have all kind of different professional qualifications where they can come together, bring their expertise together within that organization, and they can help their stakeholders accordingly. So the power lies within each of the members within those organizations. So think about Handy's cultural aspect within organizations. So like we have discussed before, that the task, role, power, person, culture, it will depend from organization to organization to adapt to these different cultures so that they can carry out the best human resource management practices and they can retain their employees, they can have an effective or collaborative organization, and they can give the best output for their customers. The next kind of flexible firm model is by John Atkins's flexible firm model, which proposes that organizational structures require increased flexibility in a fluctuating market and unpredictable and competitive business environment. So Handy's organizational culture, Handy's flexible working option is based on the type of organization it is. The power, task, role, or person culture will depend on the type of the organization they are. And the flexibility pattern or the organizational pattern, the way your business will work, will depend on the type of organization. But Atkinson's model talks about more flexibility within each of the organization. So if there are more flexibility in these organizations, then what will happen is that the organizations will be able to adapt to the changing needs of the environment. So previously in human resource management as well, we have seen that human resource practices, how an organization works or functions, needs to adapt to the changing external environment, which includes the political, economical, social, technological, or the external environment itself. So sometimes the flexible working opportunity is something where the employee can claim themselves to be self-employed, okay? So something that, probably some sort of subcontracting or part-time working or contract-based working might help, where employees will work based on their flexibility, okay? So as I am giving my example, I'm a part-time lecturer at Scholar School System. So this gives me the flexibility to work as a part-timer, as a part-time lecturer in my own time at the institution, whenever it's convenient for me. The days which are convenient for me, I teach at this institution. Okay. So it could be also people, they can do like short-term contracts. Okay. There could be delayed recruitment. There could be job sharing, part-time opportunities. So Atkinson's flexible firm model talks about the different kinds of flexible working opportunities available for different employees, so that it is all about meeting the needs of these employees. So the key principles of Atkinson's flexible firm model, the key belief of this model is that being proactive and decisive rather than reactionary in terms of change is the difference between a successful flexible organization and a dysfunctional organization. So during this pandemic, there are different ways people are suffering. So if your organization is not flexible, there are very unforeseen situations that employees have to face during this time. So if organizations are not flexible, if organizations are not providing the adequate opportunities for their employees, and their employees are not going to stay back with the organization. So the model suggests that the workforce can be proactively designed to meet business needs within a turbulent market. It advocates for the integration of flexible conditions within an organization. So again, I cannot stress enough and bring about the educational system's flexible working opportunity that is being provided to us. So the educational system actually has helped organizations, students, teachers to teach, learn, and study from a flexible environment so that they do not have to commute to the institution, and they can learn, teach, or deliver their work in this online platform effectively. Note that creating a flexible workforce is a risk, as cutting down the workforce may backfire in some strenuous conditions if there is insufficient scope to deal with unforeseen situations. Okay, so there needs to be always some sort of backup plan, all right, so that organizations can go through these flexible working opportunities. That during this pandemic, the education sector have actually bounced back because they have been able to do this Zoom online learning, because everything has been from previous time. It has been quite automatic. It was quite technological based. We were more relying a lot on technology. So that's why the education sector, apart from face-to-face teaching, everything can be easily done through online. So in Atkinson's flexible firm model, we have seen two groups which is known as the core group and the peripheral group. So we will look further into what we meant by here of core group and the second peripheral group. So the core group consists of full-time primary workers and internal workers who are integral to the functionality of the organization. Functionally flexible and difficult to replace due to high-level skills, knowledge, and experience. In contrast, the peripheral group consists of secondary workers who could be less skilled and less experienced. So this means that they can be sourced at short notice in accordance with the number and type of particular task. So what happens is like some highly skilled job or people who are highly skilled, they cannot be easily replaced, okay? So organizations need to come up with a solution so that they do not lose those human assets. So sometimes they have to come up with different options of flexibility so that they can retain all kinds of members within the organization. So the flexibility within an organization, according to John Atkinson's flexibility model, there is a functional flexibility which is associated with high skill levels across many different tasks, as exhibited by the core group of workers. It allows management to relocate core workers between multiple workforces and tasks, develop functional flexibility within a workforce, generally increase training, more flexible working hours, and reevaluation of payment. The numerical flexibility means that employers can match labor demands within the number of employees under contract at the company, and financial flexibility of organizations to adjust the price paid, the money that is provided or as wage to the employees. The two dimensions of flexible working opportunity by John Atkinson's flexible firm model. So the flexibility in employment is a concept regarding the labor market. Since perhaps the 1960s, employers have found new and innovative ways to make the size and composition of their workforces more flexible. This includes part-time, 0 hours contracts, subcontracting. So basically, giving the opportunity to employees to choose their own mode of working, to choose their own hours of working if they are unable to work for full time. Flexibility in work refers to the flexibility within the organization itself. So giving the opportunity to work from home, giving them the facilities so that they can have proper equipment to work from home, maybe giving them like a laptop or internet services, something like that. These technologies and work structures allow employees to respond quickly to market changes within the changing composition of the workforce. So these applications of the flexible firm model is definitely applicable in many organizations now, and especially during this pandemic. So for example, when also expenses require some cutting, they're made in accordance with the hierarchy outlined by flexible firm model. And the first area in which staff will be reduced is the periphery, which means like the low-skilled workers, okay? So of course, people who have the higher knowledge, have high skills, it took them a lot of time to reach to that position. So that's why it will not be feasible to replace them. If the peripheral group of workers are replaced, then they can be trained again by these high-skilled people, okay? And they can be and can be contracted or can be used to complete specific tasks. So further cuts could be required. The next target will be other members of the periphery, such as part-time staff and less experienced team members, if further cuts are required. 0-hour contracts may be utilized so that wage cuts can be made whilst retaining individuals on a company contract for future times of need. Generally, like I mentioned before, the core group are safe within the model because they have the high skills, okay? low-skilled periphery group are in a more disadvantaged position because they have the flexible option to work from home or to work in a contractual basis. So they can be easily replaced, and new people could be trained by the core group. So I would like for you, for all of you, to find an organization of your choice who you think currently offers flexible working options to their employees. So I'm sure you will find many. What I would like you guys to do is also to find out if they have kind of used any of such Handy's different organizational culture, or if you find any resemblance to John Atkinson's flexible working model. So please also look into what benefits these employers provide for their employees on flexible working practices. You can take a screenshot of this question, and you can do this as homework later on. So we were discussing a little bit about different organizational culture that has a direct relation to the different organizational structure, okay? Because different organizational culture resembles what kind of structure the organization follows. If it's a top-down structure, if it's very hierarchical, okay, that all the decision making is made from top to bottom, all right? So looking into some of this organizational structure, for example, a flat or decentralized organization. When we think about a flat or decentralized organization, it is where the organization makes easy communication between all levels within the hierarchy. There is no top-down approach that the main boss is giving all the command, is sending all the information to the superiors. That's not how it works. The communication is both ways, okay? It doesn't matter if it's from the people at lower managerial level or lower management. They can also give their feedback or opinion to higher management. So employees' voices are heard in this flat or decentralized organization. And one of the best example is one of the most renowned employer, Google themselves. A more tall centralized organization could be effective, like I said before, in organizations like Toyota. Because they are a manufacturing organization, they have specific tasks to do within the organizational structure, within different departments. So that's why maybe a centralized organizational structure where there is a top-down approach, there are the main managers, main heads of the department who tells their lower managerial level or employees what are the tasks they have to do. Okay, so these are quite specified because it is required for a smooth flow of information. Okay, so the task which is divided to different departments or different divisions within Toyota, it is smoothly sent out, and everyone within the organization can work effectively for the final product. A more hierarchical organization is Amazon, where they have different people, different retailers, wholesalers. There's more like a metric system where you have to have communication with a lot of external agents, internal agents. Okay, so that will depend on the different departments, different divisions that Amazon works in. So Amazon is like a more business-to-business organization that we have learned previously in our Higher National Certificate Marketing Essential Unit. So Amazon has different businesses there, different businesses comes to Amazon to deliver their products or to sell their products, okay? So it's a business-to-business organization, and the communication needs to be done between those businesses, between the business, the agents, the retailers, wholesalers, etc. So this is like more of a top-down approach, a pyramidal hierarchical approach, where the CEO, it's more centralized, where the CEO makes most of the decision, and accordingly, all the decision is passed down within the hierarchy to the top management, to the middle, then to their superiors, and the superiors then tell all the decision making to the line managers or workers. This is more of a flat hierarchical option, okay, where the CEO speaks to different departments, okay. The decision making flows to different departments. This is more like a structure of a bank, and then within those different departments, everyone communicate together, collaborate together. This is more appropriate to Handy's task organizational culture, where every department work together for the benefit of the organization. So now we will look upon how human resource practices and performance and reward has an impact on employees. So performance management is the process of creating a work environment in which people are enabled to perform in the best of their ability. It involves developing clear job descriptions. If there are no proper job descriptions, if people do not know what they have to do in an organization, if they're just going to come in and they don't know what they have to do, what kind of job is assigned to them, then it will become a big problem, okay, for the organization as well as the employees. Because if the employees do not know what they have to do, they will not be able to deliver properly towards the organizational goals, what the organization is actually expecting out of them. So providing effective employee orientation. Previously, in our Learning Outcome 1 for Human Resource Management, we have learned that induction, orientation, onboarding is very, very important in every organization. Why is that? Because an employee needs to be felt comfortable. Okay, they are very new in this organization. You cannot expect as an employer that the employee will come and they will know what they have to do. No, you cannot do that. All right. So you have to make sure that the employee is well aware of what they can expect from the organization, what the organization expects from them to work effectively in the organization. The organization needs to offer ongoing education, training, development, coaching, provide career development opportunities, offer proper compensation reward system that will help employees to contribute better, to commit better, and get motivated to work effectively and work together with their employees to the main goal of the organization. So what do we understand by performance? Performance refers to people carrying out tasks for the purpose of some kind of economical exchange, of course, which is compensation, benefits, that typically includes employees of firms or public organizations. Okay. So employee performance is defined as how an employee will fulfill the job duties that are given to them or execute the required task. It refers to the effectiveness, the quality, and efficiency of those output. Performance also contributes to our assessment of how valuable an employee is to the organization. So imagine when you hire someone for your organization, you will have to make sure that you provide them with proper training. You tell them that exactly what are the tasks they have to do, what is expected of them. Accordingly, the employee will perform, provide output, and then you can understand if this employee is effectively working or if this employee is able to give their best performance within the organization. So when you will see employees' output, when you will see if your employee is working effectively or not, how you're going to do that. So first of all, in this diagram here, the first thing you have to do is set goals that, okay, this is what is expected of you. Giving the example of that I've provided earlier on in Learning Outcome 1, the Nike example, that you own a Nike store, okay? And you have different employees working for you at the Nike store. So in these stores, you set goals to your employees that yes, you will have to provide different, you will have to sell probably 10 Nike products today. So you set those goals, okay, aligned to the business needs. Of course, you need to sell 10 products today, okay? So you give that individual, your employees, that goal that you should be selling, you need to sell, not should be, you need to sell 10 Nike products, please, for the benefit of the organization. You develop a plan that how you will be able to, you develop a plan with your employees that how you can deliver that, okay? How you can effectively sell 10 of these Nike products, okay? You formally evaluate the progress, okay? You see that, once you have given them proper training, once you've given proper training to their employees, you see that how well they're able to progress, how well they're able to execute the way that you have asked them to go about and sell those 10 products. If they have done a good job, definitely you should be rewarding them. You should be recognizing, acknowledging that they have done a great job. So if your employee at Nike was able to sell 10 products that day, then definitely you need to reward them. Okay. Once you reward them, then they will be able to keep up. They will stay committed. If you just see them that they have sold 10 products that day and you haven't rewarded them or acknowledged them or any way, they will not stay motivated. They will not stay committed to your organization. They will feel very demotivated that they have done their part. What have you done as an employer? So you have to reflect that what is required from them, what you are expecting from your employees, and what your employee is also expecting from you, so that you acknowledge them, so that you reward them. And the next week, you will see that maybe they have doubled the selling strategy. You will see that they have probably reached a target of 20, and they're able to sell 20 products each day. So eventually, it's a win-win situation for you as an employer as well as an employee, where both of you are working together to the main goal, which is the benefit of the organization. So how will you monitor the performance of your employees? So the process of promoting a climate of continuous learning and development, okay? So you need to make sure that you provide a lot of training, a lot of workshops, seminars, learning, development, strategy, culture within the organization. So when you help your organization when you help your employees to learn, when they will feel that they are learning something from you, they are not just, you have just not send them into the lion's den, okay? When they will know that you are helping them to grow, you are helping them so that they can sell more than 10 products at your store, then they will be able to contribute more. Then they will be able to give their best effort so that they can help reach the organization goal. Help to sustain employee performance at a planned level. So you talk to each of your employees, you see how each of your employees are working. Each of them would require probably different kind of training strategies, learning strategies, and you have to adapt accordingly with the individual's needs, with your employees' needs. Enhancing individual competencies and making employee competitive within the organization for productive contributions. So how will you monitor your employees' performance? You do a SWOT analysis. You individually, or you tell your employees to think about their strengths, think about their weaknesses, what kind of opportunities of learning they may have, okay? What could be their competitive threats, all right? So if you build the communication with them, if you have a collaborative team working attitude with them, then they will be able to identify the needs where they would need to require more training. They will be able to minimize their weaknesses and grow within the organization. So these performance indicators need to be aligned to the managerial objectives. Of course, you would want your employees to do better. You would want your employees to be better enhance within their career as well. So that will also help you to meet up with your organizational objectives. Appraising key performance indicators, it helps to see how much the staff is progressing with their work. There is a 360-degree feedback loop process, okay? So as we have seen in this diagram here, this is a 360-degree feedback, okay? That you're setting goals with your individual employees. You're developing a training plan with them. You're reviewing their performance. You're rewarding them for the work they have put and reflecting upon the things that they have done well and the things that they could have done before. So if this is like an ongoing process within the organization, the employees will benefit from improving their capabilities, nurturing their skills, and of course, for you as well, where you are developing the employees to do better. They're developing more skills which they can help contribute within the organization. You can be a proper mentor. You can coach them on a regular basis. Set like a benchmark with them that, okay, weekly there will be some training, some monthly training, etc. Actual versus target. Okay, so have like realistic expectations from your employees. Do not throw them in the lion's den again, like I said before. It is not possible for employees to meet, for example, 50 sales targets a day. If you set those 50 sales targets to different people, between 3 people, then maybe they will be able to sell more than the target. And of course, continuously reviewing their job. Make sure that it is not a monotonous job. They enjoy the work that they're doing. They are continuously have like new ways of contributing to the organization. The performance management cycle is an ongoing process of developing your employees, providing them feedback, communicating with them that what they can do better, connecting with the organizational culture, and most importantly, providing like a flat hierarchical structure where they can communicate with you as you're the employer. So let's have a look at Armstrong's performance management skill. So this performance management can be fulfilled by setting SMART objectives with you or with the employees, agreeing upon a training plan with them. So like I said, it's more like a flat structure. When you are talking with your employees, when you are setting goals, realistic goals with your employees, and not just giving them kind of ordering them that this is what they have to do, this is what they have to achieve. If that is the case, then the employees will not stay motivated. So you have to achieve these objectives together with your employees, with each of your individual employees. Implement a strategy with them, track their process, review their process. So Armstrong performance management cycle is quite similar to this feedback loop that we have discussed before. So if you want your employee to improve their performance, then this has to be a continuously reviewing cycle. You have to also give them payment and rewards accordingly. If they have sold more than, like I said before, that if they have reached beyond their target of 10 targets of sale each day, if they have sold 20 targets, then you have to give them some extra benefits. To give them like a certificate, acknowledge them, give them some sort of like bonuses, okay, or some sort of acknowledgement for their contribution within the organization. Give them some reward package, send them to a holiday, give them some holiday pay or like holiday tickets to somewhere, okay. So such payment and reward escalates an employee's performance. So usually these types of payment, as we know, is based on a base or a fixed pay, which is like an hourly wage or a salary set structure, or as the UK's legislation goes, there's some minimum wage requirements. So apart from that, you can give them some extra benefits, additional earnings, or additional fringe benefits that will result in the total earnings, the total payment of their as a reward for their performance. So base payment, like I said, could be based upon the market rate, the UK minimum wage rate. Organizations must have the ability to pay that minimum wage rate. They have to, so that the employees stay motivated, they can stay committed with the organization, work collectively within the organization. Of course, if the employee is giving proper services, then the organization and the employer and the employee need to come together. They need to meet together so that they agree upon the payment that is given to the individual. So the pay or reward determination is based on the organization's ability to pay, have an understanding of the rate or the minimum wage rate of the UK's minimum wage rate, understand recruitment retention issues, government funding or pay guidelines, union staff pressures, okay, that there are external pressures, making sure that organizations do not fall prey. They do pay the individuals with the minimum wage requirement, the national minimum wage. So this was the end of Learning Outcome 2. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.